Roll the dice, play the cards, break the rules, 'cause that's who you are. Whoever said to play it safe never played the game, never played the game, 'cause it's a deadly game. It's a deadly game, 'cause it's a deadly game, 'cause it's a deadly game. I'm John Renton with the retro view of WWE Survivor Series 1998, the Deadly Game Tournament. Mankind got screwed. They screwed us all. The Rock, Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, they screwed us all. And guess who's back? Back again. Bossman's back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Oh, the Deadly Game Tournament, where match quality really didn't fucking matter. It was all about the story. If there was ever a story-driven pay-per-view in the Attitude Era when WWE was really at a peak, it was this one. I mean, honestly, watching this play out, this event was pretty fucking goddamn awful. That being said, there was also a lot of really good stuff that led to an incredible feud between The Rock and Mankind, so it paid off in the end. But God, some events have aged like milk. Match quality really didn't matter that much in the Attitude Era. In fact, you could argue, by the time the Attitude Era really got in full swing, sometime in later 97, and I mean, there's always debates. Some say it started all the way back with Pillman's Got a Gun, even though there was cartoonish stuff still. Some say it started right around Austin and Brett at Mania 13. Let me know where you think the Attitude Era started. And it ended officially, I guess, at WrestleMania 17 or X7 or S7. Wait, that's the David Fincher movie. Speaking of David Fincher movies, check out my review of The Killer, the new movie that he released on Netflix that cost $175 million for some goddamn reason. That being said, this event is memorable. It's also one where actually the storylines on television really did play into, where it's like you nitpick a lot of the stuff and you're like, oh, I see why they did all that stuff with Mankind. I see why they did all that stuff with The Rock. I guess it sort of made sense, but Jesus goddamn Christ. The crowd in the Kiel Center, Kiel Auditorium, whatever, whatever name you want to give it, that's in St. Louis, Missouri. 21,000 plus fans going absolutely insane. 400,000 pay-per-view buys. The site of Bad Blood 97 just over a year prior. And that was also a sellout. I think there was like just a few more people for Survivor Series, like maybe like 25 more people, according to the facts and figures. That had 240,000 buys. That's when WWF was really trying to go up and up and up, and when WCW was beating the shit out of them in the ratings. I do want to say, though, this sweet shirt, my sister bought the shirt and looked at the logo online and painted it. My sister is very, very talented and even had the little star dealies and stuff like that there when it was a glowing symbol and it formed in and everything. So I just want to give a quick shout there. I always love having this shirt. So, yeah, the build-up on TV was well done. In fact, Mankind had the interplay with Vince and The Rock turning on on Vince McMahon. Shane McMahon being demoted to being a referee. So it played out beautifully, even if, boy, some of this show was a goddamn slog. And actually, if you take a look at it, 1999 had some great main events and even a couple decent mid-card matches. Take a look at the layout and actually take a look back at some of the pay-per-views in 1999. Not a lot of them aged all that well. So that being said, this is before 1999 because the Survivor Series 1998 and the previous Survivor Series had something called the Montreal Screwjob. You might have heard of it. Don't worry, it won't play into the finish of this at all. Why would you think that? Why would I mention that? And why would I say that it's not going to play, except it totally does? So, this is the first Survivor Series also with no elimination matches. And also would begin to trend for a few years where the elimination matches didn't matter all that much. You could argue 99, it really didn't matter. 2000, not necessarily. 2001 had at least the Alliance, Team WWF versus Team Alliance. And 2002 had a couple, I'm trying to think, a couple decent ones, or just have one, because they had a really great card. Really, it took a while for the elimination matches to really come back in quality. Anyway, so the show was solely about the title tournament with 2 other championship matches. So really, they Mania 4'd this goddamn thing. It wasn't as long as Mania 4, but it felt it. So the dark match, by the way, was too much. No, not the Spice Girls song. Yeah, I bet you didn't expect a Spice Girls reference, but the team of Brian Christopher and Scott Taylor, who would become too cool. Scotty would break out as Worm, and Brian Christopher would break out of the company in about 2001, and unfortunately not end up all doing all that well in wrestling after that. So they took on the Hardys. Yeah, the Hardys were in a dark match. This is when the Hardys had just been signed for a few months. The Job Squad, this is on Heat, by the way, Job Squad members Bob Holly and Al Snow against the Legion of Doom. And yes, it was either the night after this or the Raw after this, where they did the infamous, Hawk gets pushed off the Titantron, because Droz had it with him, and he was all panicked, and he was all upset, and he was all, drunk and everything, and it was a really uncomfortable storyline. Nobody liked it. Yeah, this is where the LOD were by this point. And then Val Venis took on Tiger Ali Singh and beat him for all that Tiger Ali Singh was worth in the company, i.e. nothing. And Gangrel beat Steve Blackman. So yeah, the Deadly Game tournament. The song, by the way, is one of Jim Johnston's best. At least I believe Jim Johnston had something to do with this. It's catchy, and I want to just give Jim Johnston credit. And he really needs to be put in the WWE Hall of Fame for all the great themes he came up with. So, whatever it takes, somebody is going to win. Whatever it takes, which... Who the hell sung that in the goddamn night? I know Amy Grant did a version of that. Nevertheless, let's get out of those musical references and let's get to rolling the dice and playing your cards. And you're going to break the rules because that's who you are. So, there was action on Heat to lead into this. JR and Lawler called the action. 10-minute time limit for the first round matches, and really only one match of the first round even came close to that. There were actually a couple of the first round matches were 2 or 3 times as long as some of the other matches put together. So here's Vince in his wheelchair because he had that injured ankle, bedpan McMahon, all that stuff and everything. The introduction to Mr. Sacco. Slaughter and the Stooges were there. Bossman was also there. Bossman had recently returned to the company in the last few months after being in WCW a little bit earlier that year. And Vince promises that, something big is going to happen. Something big is going to happen tonight. And he praises Mankind. Mankind's the corporate champ's got the suit on. He's going to wrestle in the suit. Vince McMahon gives Mankind a mystery opponent. Mankind has no preparation for this, and it's Dwayne Gill, who would later become, the infamous comedy character Gilbert. And 30 seconds after the bell rings, Mankind wins with like a trap cradle pin. Because, of course, Dwayne Gill wasn't going to end up winning this thing. It was a way to give Mankind an easy win. And then backstage, Sable yells at Kevin Kelly about winning the championship. Yeah, of course, you undeserving twat, of course. She got a Playboy contract that was worth more than a lot of the people in wrestling were getting. Now, yeah, she drew ratings because apparently people needed to have their eyeballs checked. I'm sorry, but Sable and Deborah, to me personally, even as somebody at the time that you would have thought would have been in the demographic, they didn't appeal to me. They just didn't appeal to me. They had big tits and they had blonde hair, and congratulations. You fit in with a lot of cocktail waitresses, which is quite frankly where both of them should have been working. And that sounds like it's degrading to cocktail waitresses to actually work hard. So anyway, Jeff Jarrett with Deborah took on Al Snow. Al Snow had head, and later Jeff Jarrett got head and got pinned. Deborah also tried to make her presence known and everything, and tried to act like she was ever beneficial to wrestling. I will say that Deborah, one thing about Deborah the person, she never deserved what Austin did to her, and that was terrible. That was absolutely terrible. As far as on-screen character, though, well, congratulations. You pushed your tits up. Whoopee for you. Dime a dozen strippers could do the same thing with a lot more talent. So, Yeah, Al Snow won in like quick fashion. I think it was like 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. Austin and Boss Man had a match. A jump start. The crowd loved Austin. And a nightstick shot caused Austin to win by DQ. And then Boss Man beat the shit out of him, choked him out with the nightstick. So the question was, would Austin be able to survive? Would he be able to come back, and would he be able to win the tournament? Of course, Austin, came back from a goddamn broken neck and won with one of the worst roll-ups, his words, in history. So, of course, he's going to come back from that. He's a real man's man. It's William Regal. William Regal admitted at the time that he was in a really, really bad place, that he cut a promo where he was not in a good state at all. He was not in a good state. He had come from WCW. I believe had been fired sometime after the whole Goldberg thing, where I side with Regal, by the way, giving him a physical match. And maybe they should have just had Goldberg squash him, admittedly, because Regal showed him up. Because Goldberg, one thing Goldberg could not do, especially at that point. I mean, he got a little bit better with some stuff, but yeah, he couldn't wrestle at that point, and Regal schooled him. Regal admitted he was not in good shape for this match with X-Pac. He would be in rehab. He'd be sent packing back to WCW for a little bit, and he would actually come back in late 99, early 2000. I'm trying to remember. It must have been sometime in later 99 or early 2000 that he came back. This wasn't good because, again, Regal, aforementioned issues. The construction man gimmick was stupid. At least the crowd didn't give a shit. I mean, so that was nice. Like, they really, really did not care. We ended up with a double count out. The crowd booed. There was going to be a 5-minute overtime to determine a winner, because otherwise Austin was going to get a bye. But X-Pac was hurt. And Regal runs back. Seemingly had to use his bathroom, I assume. And nothing happened. Vince was upset that Austin got a bye. And then we had Shamrock against Goldust in a match that would have just fit him right on Raw. Goldust tries to hit the Shattered Dreams. And we get this is after a chin lock, by the way. All hail Russell Biles for pointing out how many chin locks were on various pay-per-views, WCW and WWF. So, yeah, an ankle lock wins it. This went about 5.5 or 6 minutes. It was, okay, I guess. And then Cole says Austin is refusing medical attention. To think that Michael Cole has been there for how long? The Stooges, they come out to DX's music, not Triple H, because Triple H didn't get there for some reason. He didn't get there. I could have swore that Triple H actually was hurt. Like, really, I thought he got hurt right after the, if I remember right, he got hurt during or right after the SummerSlam 98 ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. So even though he won it, he had to relinquish it soon after and was out for a bit with knee surgery, at least until whatever the December pay-per-view was. Because December pay-per-view, there was Capital Carnage. I'm trying to remember what the other 98 one was in the U.S., but nevertheless, Triple H is out, and so Rock had to face Boss Man. And Boss Man got in there, they rang the bell, and Rock rolled him up for an inside cradle 1, 2, 3. It was 3 to 5 seconds. About how long I'd last with some people, but nevertheless. It's like that character in Van Wilder, except, boy, now I remember the scene from Van Wilder that I never wanted to remember, and now I hate Survivor Series 98 for reminding me of Van Wilder. So, yeah, Rock's all celebrating, and we get to the quarterfinal matches, which have a 15-minute time limit. Undertaker and Kane, after having that classic Mania 14 that was really well built, the Inferno match was certainly good, and then the teaming up and the not teaming up and the split and all this and the confusion. Well, Kane got him into it with a diving clothesline that was sort of weirdly done. You'd think he would hit on this side, but he actually hit on this side. He got him awake for a choke slam. Paul Bearer got knocked down, or fell down, possibly fell down because gravitational pull was something that would get him every time. Rest in peace, Paul Bearer. And Tombstone, 1, 2, 3. These guys are going to pound on each other. Or they're going to pound on each other. JR mentioned pounding on each other. JR loving the poundage between big men. So that's it. Undertaker advances. Mankind took on Al Snow. Chair was introduced very early on, but no DQ. And then a drop on the chair outside, almost like an alley-oop call. And then Vince had Socko tied to Al Snow's head, which Mankind realized. He got Socko, and then he was punching head at one point. He was punching a mannequin head. Oh, Attitude Era, you are fucking weird. And managed to get Socko, the mandible claw locked on, and Al Snow faded out. That's about the closest Al Snow got to the WWF Championship, which is honestly closer than he ever deserved to get to a championship, especially the big one. So, Rock versus Shamrock. King of the Ring 98 Finals. My God, Shamrock is going to get the victory again. No, because of course he's not. And things picked up at least. At least these guys work well together to an extent. The Rumble 98 match wasn't great. And, I mean, even though I think it was the one where Shamrock won the Intercontinental Championship and then got disqualified because he wouldn't let go of the ankle, or maybe that was Mania. One of the two. He won the title at some point from The Rock, and then that decision got reversed because Shamrock was in the zone. Boss Man showing up again. I hope they gave Boss Man a bonus for showing up so goddamn much. And then a chin lock by Just Ken, because he's Just Ken. He's going to get a chin lock on till the end. He's Just Ken. If you haven't seen Barbie, please watch it. I never would have guessed it would have been so good. DDT to a pop, and then Boss Man ends up distracting inadvertently, and Rock hits a low blow. Rock hits people's elbow for 2, and then tosses a nightstick in, and Rock accidentally catches it, intercepts it, and hits Shamrock. 1, 2, 3. So then Cole talks to Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer says that his Undertaker will win the WWF Championship. Sable then took on Jacqueline. Thanks, Derb. Thanks, Chris. I will never unhear it that way. If you are new to the channel, Derb, a.k.a. Chris, is my best friend and was a co-host for the channel for a while. I mean, he still is the co-host whenever he wants to be, but hasn't been for a few years. Not just because of the pandemic, but life takes people in different directions. But he's still my best friend. But yeah, Jacqueline. I mean, and he got that from a bit, but still, he got nailed into my head. Jacqueline deserved a goddamn bonus. Mark Marrow was in the corner of Jacqueline, by the way. It's a women's championship match. Jacqueline, who actually is legit tough and could still beat the shit out of most of the guys, had to job here to Sable. Had to just do everything she could, bounce around like a Super Bowl, because Sable was never good in the ring. She never wanted to take bumps. She was terrible. People liked her. I can't deny that. But Mark Marrow got powerbombed outside the ring. That is not outside. He might have gotten powerbombed outside, for how often Sable was able to powerbomb him. And then the Sable bomb, 1, 2, 3. Sable, the undeserving twat, wins the championship. That's all I gotta say. That's what I gotta say about Sable. All that money she earned, and she couldn't afford a personality. Mankind then faced Austin. Vince and Co were at ringside. Vince still in the wheelchair. Mankind targeted the neck and the ribs because of the previous night's sick attack by Boss Man, and they at least played up the Foley Vince dynamic here. There was a backdrop on the floor where Austin took a pretty good bump, even though he kind of that looked like pretty painful. It's good to not land flat on the floor, I guess. But, and then, we get a DDT on a chair because the chair has to be introduced because they're bound, determined to let Mankind be the guy to get to the finals and win the thing. Austin hits a stunner and jams his ass right on the chair. So who was that supposed to hurt more? And then another stunner. And then Shane comes down. Shane, who'd been demoted to being a referee. Who was the referee, by the way, in the previous match, the women's match. But Shane runs down. He is going to screw over his dad. 1, 2, and does the double bird to Austin about 5 times just to emphasize the whole goddamn thing. He just ha 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 ha. And then he does, I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be, but he does that, and then And then Mankind ends up covering after Gerald Briscoe hits a chair shot to Austin's arm. Because the one thing Briscoe wasn't at that point was an athlete. I mean, he'd been retired for years. I mean, he could only do so much. There you are. Mankind advances. And then Austin chases the Stooges and everybody away. And Vince and Shane and Bossman are all in the limo, aren't they? Aren't they? Rock and Taker. They had their match, and the winner here would face off against Mankind. And I may be in the minority here, despite not being a minority. That got away from me. Rock and Taker never fully clicked. They had good matches. They never had the matches. At best, they had good matches. No Way Out 2002 was a little more storyline driven with the Ric Flair-Taker dynamic. And they had a couple other matches in like 99 that weren't awful, but I don't know. Just something about Rock and Taker never quite clicked. They were great against each other at Vengeance in 2002, but that had angle in it, and that had pacing, and it was a great three-way. The second hardest and most intense three-way I have seen on camera. Don't ask about the first. Always delete your search history. Let's bring that Easter egg back. And Bossman showed up again after Paul Bearer used his shoe. Who uses a shoe? Paul Bearer. I just said it. God damn it, me. I should listen to me more often. So yeah, Kane shows up, hits a choke slam to Rock, and oh my god, it's a DQ. Rock ends up there, and Kane and Taker battle where Rock, leaves, and then Mankind, do you smell what the sock is cooking? And then the New Age Outlaws of the Undeserving Road Dogg and Billy Gunn took on D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry and the Headbangers. Now, I will knock Road Dogg any chance I get, because while he was over as far as being a catchphrase and everything, name one good Road Dogg match, especially a singles match. I don't think you can. And the guy also has been given multiple chances despite not having any talent or understanding of wrestling. And this is weird considering that Bullet Bob was his dad. If only Bullet Bob had pulled out, we wouldn't have had to have worried about Road Dogg. This was a mess. Billy yells at Tim White, God damn it, you suck. I don't know why that made me laugh. But this was messy. This showed exactly what Vince McMahon thought of the goddamn tag division at this point. And a pile driver won it after Billy pinned Mosh. This was not good. Then recaps of Austin being screwed. And Vince sends Bossman away, but Vince and Shane say, we're going to handle this. We're going to handle this. So Rock and Mankind have their entrances, finals. The winner here, it's going to be the hand-picked guy, Mankind, and Rock fighting back. Despite the fact Rock had just turned face recently, Rock had been getting more cheers. Rock had been getting more cheers since turning on Farouk in the Nation of Domination, even though they tried to have Rock heal up, and he had that great series of matches with Triple H and great interactions with him, leading to SummerSlam 98. And he was part of that cage match. I believe it was it Mankind, Shamrock, and Rock at Breakdown? I think it was In Your House Breakdown 98. Rock then would turn face. Shortly after that, the people were ready to cheer him, and they gave him just a taste because of what would happen in this match. But big fight feel, and then we get a chin lock. Then again, to be fair, even though some of the matches were short, these guys had to wrestle multiple times, so it makes sense. Vince and Shane show up a few minutes in, and they build all this stuff up. A chair shot. The chair gets hit into the steps that Mankind had, and, get the ringing in his ear. I mean, he had hearing here, but I think it was this ear. Yeah, he got an earful there, or at least sort of. Headshot, a leg drop on the table. We were getting some good action here. JR was going absolutely insane, saying, damn it, they're going to kill each other. People's elbow for two. Mandible claw got locked on with Sacco. And the crowd's roaring for the Rock. Rock almost gets his arm dropped for a third time. Raises it back up. Fights out. Rock bottom to a pop. And then, it looks like, oh my God, Rock's all tired. That was his last move. He can't make a cover. But then he manages to muster up enough energy to get a sharpshooter on, and then suddenly, sharpshooter, and Vince says, ring the goddamn bell, and Rock is confused. What the hell is going on here? Mankind's still there. Everybody's pissed. They recreate a Montreal, and Rock gets the championship. He's or Vince has the championship, Rock is pissed, and then suddenly they hug each other, and it was all a ruse. It was all a goddamn ruse. They managed to give the fans just a taste. They had Vince cut a promo, Shane cut a promo, Rock cut a promo, and Mankind didn't understand, and they said, well, maybe you'll understand this. Rock blasts him from behind with the championship, so Mankind's laid out, all this. This would lead to, this would lead to whatever. I don't remember if it was Capital Carnage or if it was the next, because I think they did have a December U.S. pay-per-view. It led to that. I'm sorry. Was it Armageddon? I genuinely don't remember if it was Armageddon. Some of that stuff's messy. The whole point is the December one of the December shows, big pay-per-view. Mankind seemingly beat Rock, but because Rock could not respond, Mankind won, but didn't win the championship because Rock couldn't verbally submit. And then they built to the the January 4th, 1999 Raw that was taped about a week prior, and it did put butts in seats, and that's not Shivani's fault. He was told to say that. Big old celebration with Rock, and then the chair shots at the Rumble, and then the last man standing match, the halftime heat match before that, and then I think it was a ladder match, the Raw after St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And Rock was all built up as this champion, and then lost in Mania 15. Foley had his stuff still going. And then they got to Backlash 99, which was much better than the Mania 15 match. And then Rock got pissed at Shane. And then they gave the green light for Rock to be cheered, and did we. We were ready to cheer for Rock, and finally he burst on the scene as a big old face. If only they had done that with Roman. I'm babbling here, but the whole point is it's memorable for some of the right reasons and some of the wrong reasons. Match quality didn't matter as much in the Attitude Era. And it did build up the Rock-Mankind rivalry, and eventually the team-up later in the year of 99, that is. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.